Hi guys, it's like 6:30 or something in the evening. I got up this morning and cleaned the house, swept and mopped the floor, and had my counselor appointment. And then I tried to get a hold of the Ford dealership because through this separation, I had a Ford truck that I had bought because it was his dream to have this certain truck, and I bought it and I still had a loan in my name for it, and we used it to pull a trailer when we were trying to rehab a house. We also used it a couple times to pull a camper, things like that. But now that he is gone and he left me with that truck, he said that he couldn't get a loan for it, and so I was left with the payment. I had been praying to God to help me find a way to sell it so that I could get out from under the payment. And this whole week, I took this week off from work because I knew this was going to be the week that he left. And I didn't know how I was going to feel, how I was going to react. And I just didn't want to have the work responsibilities on top of all of this. And my initial plan was, forget it. I'm going to jump in that truck and I'm going to drive 15 hours to go see my friend in Colorado. And I'm just going to stay there for a while because I need a break. But when I calmed down, I thought to myself, maybe I should just take a couple of days and talk to the Ford dealership or some other dealerships or something. I didn't know how to do this, and just see if they would buy my truck. Because if I went all the way to Colorado, that's more mileage on the truck, everything. So I've been trying to get a hold of the Ford dealership for 2 days now. I left them messages, and then I called again this morning, and I said, hey, I've been trying to call and talk to this gentleman for a few days now. I'm not getting through. And they said, he'll call you this afternoon. So I waited and I waited and I waited. It was like 3:30, and I'm like, this place probably closes at 5. Like, is he gonna call me? I don't know what's going on. And he finally called me, and he told me that the mileage was a little high for what they normally take in to buy, and he could not offer me even close to what my loan was. So he gave me the name and number of a different dealership to call and said they would maybe offer me more. So I called there and I talked to a gentleman. I gave him all the information. I told him, look, I'm going through a separation. This truck I have the loan on, and I'm just trying to get out of the loan, but I need enough to be able to pay off this loan balance. And he said, well, let me look it up and everything, and I'll give you a call back. We could probably help you. So I waited, and my grandson Liam was in here, and he wanted to watch The Grinch. So he was watching The Grinch. I gave him snacks and a drink, and then we were coloring on a piece of paper with highlighters and stuff. And all the while I felt anxiety inside, like, I don't know what's happening. I've never had to do any of this before, and it's hard for me to talk to people. So he called back and he said, well, I would be very interested in looking at the truck if you had a minute to bring it by. So I hurried up and took my grandson back to my daughter and got in the truck and drove over there. And I tried to be confident and like nothing was wrong and everything. And I just gave him the keys. And he said, well, it'll be 10 or 15 minutes. I got to test drive it, do all this. I said, that's fine. So I sat over, they had like a seating area with some couches and chairs. So I sat in the chair and I chatted the loan place to find out what my payoff balance was, so I at least knew that. And I had $3,500 in my bank account. That's all that I had because I thought to myself, okay, worst case scenario, if they offer me something, then I could at least take that money and put it toward the balance to help me get this paid off, because I need to get out from under the loan. So we came back in, sat down, chit-chatted for a second, and then he was trying to offer me $1,500 less than what I needed. And I said, look, this is how much I owe, and I have $3,500 to my name, so I have to have the balance. And he said, okay, then if you give me a second, I need to go talk to somebody. So he walked away, and then he came back and he said, if it will help you, we're willing to do it. And I just broke down and cried, and I gave him a hug, and he said, it's gonna be okay.